Hello, hello, hello. All right, take two. This site is called Take What Rings True. And my name is Teresa Micheletti. And the whole idea is you can believe what I say or not. So take what rings true to you and let the rest go. I want to talk today about of invisibility. So if you're invisible, not literally invisible to a group of people, then you have some quiet time and you're not bothered. And the hangers on and the irritating people just don't bother you. So I'm not talking about not seen by society. No one ever pays attention to what you say. No one notices that you're there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about choosing to be invisible for a specific purpose. So I had a really mean bully in my family. And when I thought about becoming invisible, I asked to be invisible to him. So when he would come visit the house, he would walk in, and if I was sitting in the living room, he would just walk right by me like I wasn't there. But the codicil was that I would say, I want to be invisible to him unless I need to confront him or I need to talk to him. So if I didn't need to, he ignored me. So he would walk into the room, he would be at the dinner table, and it's like I wasn't there. He didn't talk to me, he didn't, whatever. So if he was there for dinner that time, he didn't bother me, which was quite nice because he could be very mean, very manipulating, and just an all around pain in the neck. So I do not want a pain in the neck. That was just a phrase to use to explain what it was like being around him. I have a friend who went to a conference with me, and this guy was like stalking her, like always around her, bothering her, walking with her when she didn't want to be walking with him. So I talked about being invisible, and I said, be invisible to him. Well, the next day, he's sitting at the same table of, I think it's 8 people, 12 people, I don't know, like across from her. He's not paying attention to her. He doesn't notice her. It was very interesting to her. I believed that that was going to happen. But that is one case where you can use invisibility. So, another thing that happens, you need to decide, are you going to be generically invisible to everyone? Or are you going to be invisible to a person? And you need to be specific when you ask for invisibility. So when I first started using this, I asked to be invisible. I was going to go to I was doing past life regressions in Florida somewhere. I think it must have been Tampa. And I asked to be invisible because there were some people at the hotel who were like not great to be around. So every time you go through the lobby or encounter them at the cafe, I didn't want to deal with them. So I asked to be invisible. So when I came back to the hotel, the doors would not open. I had to wait for somebody else to come. And I didn't get it that I need to say, I'm invisible to them, not to the whole world. So, and the same thing would happen if I went to a grocery store. The grocery store doors wouldn't open. Sometimes when I would go to a meeting where there were a lot of people who were egocentric, I'd say, like they have to tell you how important they are, how wonderful they are. I didn't want to deal with that. So I asked to be invisible generically to the, not just anyone specific. So I'm trying to get there and I'm at the stoplight and it won't change to green. And I didn't get that I need to ask my car to be visible. So now I do that. If I'm asked to be generically invisible, I want my car to be visible. So the other day I forgot that. I'm in the first car to make a left-hand turn. There's bunches of cars behind me. It's like rush hour. And it's 3 cycles. It should have changed green. It should have changed green. It should have changed green. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, my car is visible. And then it changed. So you have to be careful about that. Airports. So I was just on a trip and I went to the airport and, I was visible to the TSA guy and all that. Well, I got to the X-ray machine, the big one where you have to put your arms up like that, and it wouldn't take my picture. And then again, it wouldn't take my picture. And finally, I realized 3 times that morning I'd asked to be invisible, but I had not said just to a specific person. So I said, okay, I'm not invisible anymore mentally because my guide has permission to read my mind. So I was not invisible. And then the third time they tried to take a picture, they could take a picture. I thought it was funny. It's like, I'm sure they thought there was something wrong with the machine. There was not. It was paying attention to my generic, I want to be invisible. So you need to be aware of when you're using it and aware if something's not working. Is it you or is it the thing that's not working? It may just be you that's causing it not to interact with you. So sometimes it helps. And especially, if you're in a busy place like the airport, it's kind of nice to be invisible because then people give you space. So that's nice. I had like 2 empty seats on this side, 2 empty seats on this side, and an empty seat across from me in the waiting room. There was enough seats for everybody. If there wasn't, I would have said, okay, this area is not invisible. Anyway, I find it a valuable tool, especially if you know you're going to be around someone who's mean, someone who's a bully, someone who tries to do one-upmanship for no reason. Just that kind of thing that you don't need to deal with. And I always say, if somebody's supposed to interact with me, bring them on. Just let them come to me and I'll handle it, whatever it is. But you don't need to always be visible. Now, if you are a person who's charted to be invisible and people are not paying attention to you, or you need to learn a lesson about it, then you're probably not going to choose this tool. Number one, because you want to be visible. And number two, because maybe you need to learn something from not. Are you not speaking up? Are you not interacting with people? Are you choosing to be unworthy and assuming that people will not value you? If that's the case, then stop and think, okay, am I invisible to the society? Why would that be? What do I need to do to step out of that role? So there's different kinds of invisibility. One is invisible to society because you wrote it in. And I'm pretty sure that if you wrote that in, you have the opportunity to overcome it and be more visible. And you can also ask, Mother God, is this something charted in my life chart? And please give me infusion about what I haven't learned, what I need to do. Talk to your spirit guide, talk to your angel, and tell them, okay, I'm done with this lesson. What do I need to do to overcome it? And then be open to infusion. They're not going to give you the answer right that second, although they may give you something right that second, but it would probably be a series of steps. Like you have to learn not to expect to be invisible. You have to learn not to expect that other people are more valuable than you are, have better ideas than you do. So, I don't know, somebody's trying to call me again, but good thing I don't have to answer. Okay, so sometimes people are invisible because of society, and that's probably in your chart. So you need to deal with that outside of what I'm talking about today, which is being invisible by choice, either to a person, a group, or a whole room. So ask to be invisible if you wish, like you're going into this giant conference and you don't want everyone to come to you. Then you can ask to be invisible for that day, unless you're supposed to talk to somebody. Now, I like to talk to people at conferences, so I usually don't do that. But if there's an individual person I want to talk to or not talk to, like my friend who was being stalked at the conference, then I ask to be invisible to them unless I'm charted to interact with them. Then, if you choose to be invisible, you need to make your car not invisible. So the doors will open when you try to walk through, and the grocery store door will open, and the stoplights will change, and the airport X-ray machine will work. So if you've asked to be invisible for another reason, I ask to be invisible if I am dealing with dark entities lately a lot, because I can do that. So if I'm dealing with a group of dark entities, then I ask to be invisible so I can eliminate them without them attacking me before I do that, or as I'm doing that. And that's why I was invisible the other day, is because I asked to be invisible 3 times because I had done 3 cycles of helping people. So if you ask to be invisible, remember, what is your goal? Do you just want one person not to be around or to interact with you unless you're charted to? Do you want a group not to interact with you? Or do you want the whole world not to interact with you? Not that you can't do things. I mean, the TSA took my thing, took my ID, but the TSA, I was right in front of him. It was obvious that he had to take care of me. And I'm sure my guides are going, okay, fine. But then reminding me when I got to the X-ray, I need to not be invisible to the X-ray. So you have a mean or bully person in your life, then be invisible to that person. You want to be invisible to a group, fine. But always make sure that your car is visible, that you are visible to the people who need to see you. So I always have the codicil of, if I'm supposed to talk to someone, if I'm charted to talk to someone or interact with them, that I still will have that ability. So generic, individual, group, the world, or not at all. And if you are that person who's written in your chart to be invisible to society, then ask Mother God, what do you need to learn before you can overcome that? Your guide, your angels, all those people. Hey, Hilda, yay. Okay, that's what I know about that subject. If you have questions, put them in the comments. And thank you for joining me today. Bye.